At first, the idea of the Boston Celtics trading Jayson Tatum to make room for Cooper Flagg sounds outrageous, almost like a clickbait headline. But what if it's not? What if behind that bold suggestion lies a hard truth that fans simply don't want to accept? With the NBA's new collective bargaining agreement, CBA, placing severe financial limits on success, maybe bold moves are exactly what Boston needs to stay competitive. Billionaire Bill Simmons now owns the franchise, and the dreaded second tax apron hangs over them like a financial noose. What once sounded like an impossible scenario now feels slightly more realistic. Could the only way to stay competitive in the long term be to part ways with the face of the franchise? Jayson Tatum is just 27, but his career already reads like that of a legend. He's an NBA Finals MVP, a multiple-time All-Star, and recently signed the largest contract in league history, worth $314 million. But that same contract, which reflects his greatness, could soon become a problem. By the 2029-30 season, Tatum will cost the Celtics over $71 million per year, a massive number in an era where financial wiggle room barely exists. Here's the uncomfortable question no one wants to ask. What if keeping this group together ultimately leads to disaster? Under the league's new CBA, maintaining a dynasty is nearly impossible. The second apron doesn't just bring heavy fines, it wipes out a team's flexibility, from trades to salary exceptions. The NBA's message is clear: if you want to spend big, you'll do it alone. Former owner Wyke Grousbeck put it bluntly: no team can survive more than 2 seasons in the second apron. In other words, you either make painful decisions or watch your success collapse under its own weight. Right now, the Celtics are on track to spend over $500 million in total costs, an unsustainable figure without major change. Enter Cooper Flagg. Many consider the college standout the best American basketball prospect since LeBron James. He brings an elite mix of basketball IQ, athleticism, and a winning mentality that's rare for someone his age. Scouts see him not as a risk, but as a near-certain star. Players like him don't come around every year. That leads to a tough, yet straightforward question. If Tatum's value is so high, why not trade him now, while his stock is at its peak, and get a treasure trove of young assets and draft picks in return? Wouldn't it be wiser to build around a future star before the salary cap crushes this current core? Sometimes, the smartest move is the one made before the rest of the league sees what's coming. But can Flagg really be that guy? Jeremy Woo of ESPN believes Flagg already has better court vision than Tatum did at the same age, and he plays with more unselfishness. That comparison sparks a difficult debate. Could Flagg be a more team-oriented and cerebral version of the elite player Tatum already is? Flagg has the size, instincts, defensive intensity, and technical skills that demand respect. He sees plays unfold before they happen, protects the rim, communicates like a veteran, and passes with intent. Yet even with all the buzz, straight out of a sports movie really, there's one undeniable fact. Tatum entered the league more polished on offense. He was already a natural scorer with excellent footwork and a reliable isolation game, areas Flagg is still developing. But Flagg's appeal isn't just on the court. It's financial. Under the new CBA, overspending comes with harsh penalties, and being above the second apron severely limits a team's ability to make moves. Having a player like Flagg on a rookie deal is essentially a jackpot. For 4 seasons, he'd give the Celtics elite performance at a fraction of Tatum's cost. That opens the door to something the current roster can't offer: flexibility. It's like pressing a reset button, with the potential to be just as strong as what they have now. Trading a proven superstar for a promising prospect is always risky. This is where the conversation gets tricky. As great as Flagg looks, he hasn't experienced the grind of an NBA season. He hasn't gone up against Giannis at the rim or tried guarding Luka Doncic. He hasn't battled through a tough playoff series. Tatum has done all of that, and more. He's led the Celtics to a championship. He's the Finals MVP, and the face of a culture that's been built piece by piece. Trading him for a shot at Flagg is like selling a diamond to buy shares in a startup. It could pay off big, or it could amount to nothing. Are we getting too excited about the idea of finding a next Tatum? Does the similarity in style and background really justify such a dramatic shift? This debate isn't just about stats, it's about leadership, presence, and mental toughness. Tatum has faced criticism, challenges, and doubt, yet he has consistently evolved and reshaped his game until he became a champion. Flagg still needs to prove he can carry a franchise on his shoulders, not just in theory, but in practice. Maybe this hunger for a new face of the franchise says more about fans' anxiety than anything else. Maybe it's about fear. Fear of sliding down the mountain without being willing to pay the price to stay on top. But like life, basketball makes you earn everything. Betting on Flagg is a bold move, and it could come at a cost few are ready to accept. Here's the hard truth. Jayson Tatum might be too valuable to keep. It sounds strange, even insulting to some fans. How can the man who led the Celtics to their long-awaited 18th title be considered tradable? But that's where the paradox lies. The NBA in 2025 isn't the same league it was just a few years ago. The game, the rules, and the financial environment have all changed. These days, having a superstar isn't enough. You need to know how to manage the success that comes with it. This isn't a knock on Tatum. It's a critique of the system the league has built. The current CBA punishes teams for keeping expensive cores together, even if they're winning. Brad Stevens understands this reality. So does Bill Simmons. Even White's Grousbeck warned that no one can last more than 2 years in the second apron. So, the uncomfortable question remains. Will Boston make a bold decision before things spiral out of control? Now we reach the emotional part of the conversation. The intangible side. This isn't just about trophies or player ratings. It's about hunger, drive, and the will to dominate an entire generation. Even after winning the 2024 championship and Finals MVP, some whispers still persist. Is Tatum more like Scottie Pippen than Michael Jordan? That comparison suggests he might be the most dependable, well-rounded player on the court, but not the most feared. Tatum is smooth, efficient, and thoughtful, but he doesn't have that ruthless edge, like Kobe, Jordan, or even LeBron, who led through passion and intimidation. Tatum leads with skill and calm, not emotion or force. And like it or not, that doubt is becoming harder to ignore. Keeping Tatum at the center forces Boston to sacrifice depth and flexibility. Fewer options, bigger risks. Trading him might sound crazy, but it could give the Celtics the freedom to reshape their roster completely. They could get valuable draft picks, young stars, and cap-friendly contracts. It wouldn't be a rebuild, it would be a calculated reload. Let's be honest, recent success guarantees nothing. The Golden State Warriors, after years of dominance, are now stuck with heavy contracts that limit their flexibility. The Miami Heat, still committed to Jimmy Butler, find themselves caught between past glory and a stagnant present. Boston could end up the same way, or they could choose to pivot before it's too late. Maybe holding on to Tatum is the real gamble. Not because he isn't good enough, but because the team might be too emotionally invested to move on. The Celtics have to choose. Keep clinging to the fading glow of 2024, or take the chance to build something even greater. Something younger, leaner, and better suited for the next era of NBA basketball.